It's me, the random man, the best there ever was. I am here to make a video on this guy right here. And maybe this one just a little. So, the backstory behind this vacuum was that I saw a video about how cool Hoover concepts were. And I was like, wow. Here I am, sitting with fucking 12 Kirby's. Oh, wow, these are the best machine ever. They're awesome, yeah. But then I hear this person on YouTube talking about a big game. Talking big game about the Hoover concepts and how they can outclean a Kirby. And to answer that question, no, they can't. Well, it depends. This one most certainly can, with the whole quadriflex, whatchamacallit. The one on the right, same feature, but it's only got a 5.6 originally, 5.6 amp motor. And then now, the motor is a 5.1 amp. Why is that? Well, the 5.6 amp motor was making some ungodly noises, and I chose to replace it, because it's my machine, and go fuck yourself. So I replaced it with a 5.1 amp motor, because I could. It's what I could find. It was cheap. I checked the pictures and all that. It was almost brand new. But, starting from the very start, I bought this Hoover concept because someone in my comment section mentioned when I was posting a video about a Kirby and how easy it was to push. They were commenting about how, oh wow, it's almost as snappy as one of the old Hoovers. And I was like, self-propelled Hoover. I don't know why I thought Kirby did it first. I don't even know if I did think that. That would be very short-sighted of me. Because of course, all older vacuums were heavy and bulky. Of course someone wanted them to be self-propelled. This one with the metal transmission weighing 30 fucking pounds. It isn't light. I apologize for all the profanity, because today I am just feeling a little out of it. But, so I got it, and I went to push it, and I was like, wow, this feels like pushing a ton of bricks. What had happened is the belt was crusty and dusty and horrible, so I chopped a Kirby belt in half and put that in there. Wow, it still pushes like a ton of bricks. Only to find out the cable casing, yeah, that's right, self-propels up here instead of down here. Yoke. The cable casing wasn't in place, because in here, behind this light cover, is the cable for the arm. I'll demo this guy because it's lighter. That's another neat feature, that spring noise you heard. Here is a self-propel arm. Let me unlock this. See that? Handle moves forward and backwards. Now, right there is the clutch mechanism. What the fuck am I doing? Right here is the clutch mechanism. So, it's in there just like this. Here's the transmission. I have a spare because I had it was some kind of self-propelled Hoover. It was like if you were to mix this one with a modern Hoover, what are they called? Hoover Anniversary and a Hoover, what's that? You know the ones with the bag at the front? Hoover Elite. A Hoover Elite, Hoover Anniversary, and a Hoover Concept. If you were to blend those together, you'd get it. And it fucking fell apart. Anytime you look at the plastic wrong, something breaks. So I'm parting it out, because I've tried to put it together so many times. When I first put it back together, I was checking to see if this would work, and since the cable, someone thought it would be an amazing idea to design a vacuum cleaner, self-propel mechanism with a braided cable. I don't know what was in that person's brain, but it wasn't right. braided material, it's just like a rope. And there's a saying out there called you can't push a rope. Yeah. Anyway, tangent. So I put a new belt in, and it still was really hard to push. So I disassembled the transmission. Oh my gosh, was that a bad idea? Because I was like, wow, let's get these asbestos clutches out of here. Because that's not good. And what I did was I bought a Hoover anniversary transmission and tried to put those plastic clutches in. And it didn't work. I tried, and it just didn't help. It was still extremely hard to push. And I think that mostly has to do with how torque is applied through this lever here, and how much of it there is, and especially the size of the pulley that goes from the motor to the transmission. The pulley, it's a way larger ratio on an anniversary, and I think the clutches were made of a corresponding material, so that never worked out. So I tried to put it back together with the original asbestos clutches, and I accidentally had them swapped around, and I was like, wow, why won't this thing spin? I never put it in the vacuum like that, because what it was doing was it was slowly destroying one of the gears. I swapped it around before anything bad happened, and that gear is a little fucked up, but it's still in there now. So I swapped it around, got it working again. Still kind of pushed like a ton of bricks. I only fixed that very recently. What I did was I'd taken it apart, and this metal side, not the side with the actual clutch material, I cleaned that thoroughly with carburetor cleaner and rubbing alcohol repeatedly. Those are cleaned very thoroughly. There's no crusty dusties on those. So on the metal side, what I did, I took it out and I rubbed it against some 600 grit sandpaper for a solid like 2-3 minutes, being extremely careful to ensure that it was level. So I wasn't like making it into a bowl kind of shape or anything dumb like that. And I put it back in, and slowly it got easier and easier to push. And then boom, now it's here. And I'm honestly not too worried about the metal destroying the clutches now that it's got some grit to it. That is because, asbestos is a form of silica. And silica, hint hint, it's part of what sand is. And, silica being just really fine sandpaper, I'm sure it'll smooth the metal back down. Now, that's amazing because now it has amazing grip. It pushes even lighter than this one. This one, it's got its own story. But, long story short, it sat in my basement for a solid 8 months. It was just chilling down there in pieces. I was so pissed at this thing. I just couldn't get it to work right. It was like harder than pushing even one of these. You can see the greasy rags in there from working on these and the corresponding stains in the carpet. It's like pushing one of these, but worse somehow. Listen to that. Look at that with this. Well, you get that. Yeah, you don't get that creaky stuff with these vacuums. It was so frustrating to repair, but I finally got it going. It took so long. I've had this vacuum for, I'm pretty sure, a little over a year now, and it's only been usable for about 3 months of it. So there's that. But now it's in like tip-top shape. The original motor in it was a 5.6 amp motor and was making ungodly noises, so I replaced it with a 5.1. And it would go whenever you turned it off, and it was absurdly loud. And I'm 99% sure the problem had to do with, for this part, separate from here, believe it or not. You know, the inner part. I'll show you. This inner part right here is separate from this outer part, and I used the wrong screws for it that were too long, and they bottomed out while it was still loose. So it was like really messed up. So I'm pretty sure that had a lot to do with the volume, because when I turned it on with the new motor compared to the old one, it sounded just about the same until I closed it up, in which case it sounded a million times better. Yeah. This one I recently got because I've had one with this for a while. I really wanted one with a lockout like that. So like, you know, if I really wanted to, I could carry it by the handle. The neatest part about these is how the front lifts up. You may be thinking, well, any vacuum does that. This one does that. Not really. But yes, the front is completely independent of the self-propel system. Let me lean this guy forward for you. Yeah. See that? It's an independent mechanism, which is amazing. I like that because, you know, it ensures the brush roll has proper contact with the floor. Oh my gosh, if you saw the original brush roll, you would be like screaming. It was so bad. Managed to locate a new one. Good luck doing that for much longer. It's just a really nice machine now that I got it going right. It was definitely frustrating. Now, I recently had the opportunity to work on a non-self-propelled model of this machine, and oh my gosh, was it a million times easier not having a transmission to clean up and disassemble. So, both of these, when I disassembled the transmission, I pumped the gearbox full of grease, less friction and all that. This one I actually used steel gearbox grease, like for the string trimmer heads and all that. I used that, and it drives so smoothly. This one had an interesting problem when I first got it though. I put this transmission in it while I was figuring it out. It was in there for maybe a week. Because like at my mom's house, the carpeting's, well, the rugs rather, are much different. So a transmission with this type of clutch material works just fine. But at my dad's house, you need something that transfers torque a little more efficiently. And this wasn't cutting the mustard. And you know, this one being borderline commercial, I had to get the original transmission going so it would push nicely. So that's what I did. And what it ended up being was, or at least I'm 99% sure, was either the bearings in here, which I serviced. I didn't regression test, so I'd know exactly what it was. I just did it. Or it was the clutch pads, since they rotate independently of the center part, as you can see there. The clutch pads sticking to the shaft. So I cleaned, sanded, and greased the shaft carefully as to not get any on the clutches. And it pushes like brand new. This one, you may not know this, but between here and these two clutches, there's a little felt pad. This one I took those out because I'm pretty sure it was disintegrating and getting between the clutches, causing it to be harder to push. It's made virtually no difference, so feel free to do that if you so choose. I'm pretty sure the transmission in this one's half assembled incorrectly, but I honestly don't care because it pushes like a feather. I don't know any other nouns to describe it. Right, nouns, adjectives, I don't fucking care. I'm too out of it for this. Adjective, okay. I don't know enough a different adjective that's a little funnier to describe it. But yeah, it pushes super easily. Even better than this one, even though this one's got more RPMs to go into the transmission. And the best thing is, I was super worried about like wearing the transmission in this one out. That's part of why I got a second one, because, you know, further wear to spread out, and, you know, having a spare transmission since they're hard to come by, all that's super nice. Now, I'll just demo this guy for you quick. This one's really loud. I'll just leave the camera rolling so you can get the full experience. Yeah, I know the cable clutch is in need of some work, but it locks up nicely. And so long as you don't like push this and let go of it before it's fully retracted, it'll be alright, since it's metal directly against the rotating drum. Yeah, I have that tape there, so. Alright. Let's see if I can find a good way to record this. Alright, left, here we go. I really hope that's not bearing noise. I oiled them a little bit before I put the new motor in. I'm pretty sure it's just the motor brushes breaking in, because it's essentially a brand new motor. The fan had no markings on it. The motor had no dust on it. It was new when I bought it. When I bought the new motor. Blech. Redundancy. Anyway, yeah. It doesn't like that much. Let's bring this guy around. Oh, God. That's not what you like to hear. Alright. It's the first time it's done that for me, so I'm a little scared. Alrighty. There's your review of the clapped out Hoover power drive.